face you lies, straight up busted on family ties.
Banging in Brooklyn, grinding in Greenpoint, doing work in Williamsburg, and occasionally making moves in Manhattan. This is Fight Fuel MMA. I am Dave Clifford, aka at Fishy Fridge on Twitter.
And I am Joy, at JoyGNY on Twitter.
And today, we are going to talk about a catastrophic event, UFC 220, the TD Garden in Boston. There was a 2-car hype train derailment.
Oh. I'm like, wait, what?
That shit pulled into the Garden and simultaneously derailed. First, we're going to talk about the main event on the card. Stipe Miocic. Versus Francis the Predator Ngannou. In what turned out to be a 5-round heavyweight massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pretty much called this one. So did you. We both thought Miocic was going to win, even though Ngannou is the scariest heavyweight active right now. He is terrifying. His knockout power is undeniable, and it's not taking anything away from him. However, you compare his 5 years of MMA training to Miocic, and he's been training for much longer than that. Yeah. So it was just experience, and also a lack of being in the octagon for very long.
Yeah, it was
just in general, like his fights are usually very short in Ngannou, so just never really being tested for 5 rounds before, and it showed.
It
unfortunately
absolutely showed.
Yeah. He is a future champion, no doubt. He has raw talent. It's just he's just not there yet.
Stipe realized that Ngannou was going to be dangerous on the feet in the first round, and you saw the first 2 minutes of the fight, Miocic was using really nice head and waist movement to avoid some of the big shots that Ngannou was throwing out there, and then he went to what he has over Ngannou. He's got wrestling, and he took Ngannou down repeatedly 3 times in the first.
Wow. Which I was impressed to see him being able to take down such a large man in the first round. Like,
the last takedown was a double leg that he just drove through and hoisted him up.
That was so impressive on Miocic. Like, wow. That Ngannou is a giant, massive heavyweight.
Yeah, he cuts to 265.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Miocic walks around basically at what he fights
at.
He fights.
He
doesn't
walks his
cut
weight.
Any weight.
He's not that big. Miocic has said several times that he would welcome a 225-pound division in the UFC. He could easily make that. But just superior wrestling was the key. And cardio. That might be the most important thing with this fight. Because Ngannou was shot.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows just the inexperience, and it's no knock on him. He's a giant man with giant muscles, and all of that oxygen needs to go get pumped into those muscles, and that is a daunting task. I mean, look at it. You saw what happened to him. It's just something that he's got to go back to the drawing board on, and hopefully he can correct it, or just learn how to just keep his fights within the first round.
Yeah, well, it's a physiological thing. Yes, his body's that big, but in reality, you're fighting or you're preparing for a 5-round fight. When you're training, it looked to me that unless he had some kind of massive adrenaline dump or something happened, he had not properly prepped his cardio for the possibility of a 5-round fight. I think Ngannou definitely thought he was going to finish the fight within a couple rounds, but one 5-minute round of hard wrestling, it shouldn't end the fight for you. You should be able to come out at least in some kind of shape for rounds 2 and on. It was a huge failure either of Ngannou's camp or just an inability to maintain his energy. One of the two.
Yeah, well, also, it's not so much like a knock on Ngannou. I mean, yeah, he does have some things that he needs to work on, but, you know, he's still very new to the sport and back to the drawing board, and he'll come back stronger. But also, Miocic's game plan. You saw he had specific tactics on the ground, which not only, like, controlled Ngannou and was able to, like, keep him in, you know, bad positions, but also, like, he did it in a way where he was conserving energy. Like, he didn't have to hold him down and use all of his energy to do it. He, in fact, like, put all of his weight on Ngannou and made Ngannou have to carry all of Miocic's weight, keep him in a bad position, and just drain his energy. It was just such a genius game plan, and whoever thought of that idea was very
super
intelligent.
smart. Maybe some people watching the fight weren't a big fan of watching Miocic 3-quarter Nelson Ngannou for 4 minutes out of a 5-minute round. I love that shit.
The control.
The control
is very impressive.
Yeah, and Dominic Cruz said it right. He said, what you're seeing from Ngannou now, later in the fight, was when your body starts fighting itself, where you would rather get punched in the face by another man than use your own body. You saw the energy drain and the wrestling control take such strong effect that outside of... Ngannou hit him a couple times. I mean, the first round he clocked him. Third round, he hit him in the third and staggered him. But
he
outside...
still was dangerous, but, you know, not as dangerous as he is known to be, you know,
because
later on in the fight.
He didn't have that energy, and his hands were also held back by the threat of that takedown. It was a stultifying performance by Miocic. Brilliant tactically. And on the feet, it's not like he was running away from Ngannou. He was throwing. He was trading. I was impressed. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I just knew that Miocic's ring IQ, his octagon IQ, his MMA experience, and his years of training was just gonna be too overwhelming for Ngannou's, you know, raw talent, power, heavy game.
Yeah.
So, awesome job, Miocic. Not only did he defend his belt, not only is he still the champion, he did something that no other heavyweight in UFC history has been able to do, and that is hold the belt and defend it 3 consecutive times. Now, not only like that, like that's an amazing task in of itself. Like, but we have to realize like what he has done to get to this point. Like, how many fights has he won? How many fights has he ended in the first round? How many top level heavyweights has he beaten? Now, Ngannou, he has knocked the fuck out of how many people in the UFC? But how many of them are those people all the way at the top?
He beat, you compare him.
Yeah, you compare them to each other, and it's just like, wow. Of course, Miocic.
Yeah, Miocic's record is better. He's beat the tougher opponents. He's the champ. But people got blinded by that promotional machine and that hype train that Ngannou is gonna tear through him, knock him out, and they just didn't look at the facts of the matter. Was Ngannou's size and power going to be a problem for Stipe? Yeah, and it was. I mean, he didn't get a finish over an opponent who was exhausted, who could have been finished. But if Stipe could put a little more power into those ground and pound shots, I think it would help his overall game.
Finished the fight.
Yes, but he neutralized and controlled the guy that everybody was saying it was going to be the next big thing, take the belt, hold the belt, and he absorbed a minimum of damage doing it. It was a really high-level performance by Stipe.
Yeah, he did get caught in the first round, and again, a little bit in the third round.
Yeah, that one shot.
But Ngannou literally threw 0 strikes
Second round, right?
Fourth round. In the fourth round, he literally, like, they're like, and here's the fight stats, like,
You're
after
like
the fight.
0.
And it's like, Miocic is outstriking him, of course, in every single one, like, by leaps and bounds in every single round. But, like, the fourth round, it was like 0.
Yeah, that was rough.
I'm like, oh my god. And you know what? Although, by honestly, like, halfway through the third round, the fourth round, and the fifth round, like, it was really, really bad performance for Ngannou, but a learning experience. Yeah. You can't even, like, say anything about, you can't really, like, give, like, the only criticism you can give him is, like, back to the drawing board. Like, that was, like, untested waters. You now know what you need to do to fix it. So it's never like, oh, he sucked. Like, no, he didn't suck. Like,
fix your cardio.
Yeah. fix that.
Fix your ground game.
Or learn how to not put yourself in those positions. And that's just something that experience is going to give to him. He already has such a strong base for just having that talent and the physique that he has. Mm-hmm. So, like, he is so gifted for this sport. Just that, those years of experience, hopefully it will make him come into his own. And we could see him be a dominant, scary as fuck champion.
Which, yeah, he may very well be one day. Speaking of champions, the co-main event on this card was a fight between Daniel DC Cormier and Volkan the Ooze Oezdemir. That's my new nickname for him, the Ooze. No time is gone. It's the Ooze, yeah, because Oezdemir, the Ooze. Anyway, and Cormier, who won the fight ruthlessly, after the fight, he said he felt like he was fighting for a vacant belt. He felt like the belt in the light heavyweight division was vacant, and now he was the champ again.
Well, let's just give a little... Yeah. So let's give a little background to that as to why DC thought it was a vacant title. The last time the title was in the picture, it was Jon Jones coming back off of his suspension to challenge DC for the title. So DC was the champion in Jon Jones's absence. He had the belt taken from him. Jon Jones. So then DC had it. He defended it decisively. Mm-hmm. And then Jon Jones comes back, and Jon Jones...
He head kicks the belt straight off DC's waist, snatches it, runs out the building.
Yeah, he knocked him out. It was with a head kick, and it was brutal. I mean, we've never seen this man, DC, get knocked out before. He has the chin of steel, right?
He has the chin. He looks like he has.
Yeah, he has fought. He's fought in the heavyweight division. He has taken some heavy ass punches, mm-hmm. and he kicks. He has been through it. So the fact that Jon Jones was able to knock him out that way, that was just so spectacular and amazing for Jon Jones, and so devastating and so hard, like a hard pill to swallow for DC, because his whole entire career, like, the only person that has challenged him and has beaten him so bad has been Jon Jones. Now, so it is such a bitter pill to swallow for him. So he was in tears at the end of that last fight. Yeah, he
cries after his losses. But you got to remember, like Joe was saying, Jon Jones is DC's nemesis. Like, this wasn't a friendly rivalry. This isn't competitive fire. These two guys hate each other. It's very rare to see two fighters get under each other's skin way Jones and DC do. So getting dropped like that with a perfect shin to dome head kick, that kick would have put anybody out. Getting dropped like that, and then Jones popping for a banned substance. And now they give the belt back to DC. Now he's gotten the belt back two times after this guy has popped.
They might as well have vacated it. Yeah, that's the way DC saw it in his head.
That's a good way to look at it, yeah. So
that's the backstory, which is why I'm filling in.
So you look at DC's headset going into this fight. Is he fucked up in the head? Was this a shot that broke DC's chin? Because you see that with fighters. Their chin is amazing. He's older. They'll get knocked out, and then their chin just seems to go.
We were worried about that.
Especially considering that
Oezdemir is a knockout artist. He put away Jimmy Manoa.
He's a knockout artist in the clinch, too.
Yeah. He is and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy?
I mean, come on.
It's the light heavyweight division. It is thin. The talent is few and far between. Besides Jon Jones, who's out, DC, and Alexander Gustafsson, who's been out recovering from surgery, and Anthony Rumble Johnson, who has since retired. Like, and then Ryan Bader went away. It's like they just keep losing talent, and so it's like very few and far between. So this guy Oezdemir comes out fast and ferocious. Like, he is just impressively knocking out the other light heavyweights in the division. So with the talent as spread out as it is, he is the next challenger to the title. So
it makes sense that he was the next he was the next contender, especially because Gus is out. He had surgery. But he's not a household name, and he had 3 fights in the UFC. He had a 3-round fight where he beat Ovin St. Preux, and then he had 2-minute knockouts. He knocked out Serkinov, and he knocked out Manoa, and he did that both times from the clinch. I mean, Serkinov, he just wrapped his head around the top, hit him in the back, and the guy was out. Manuel, it was a clinch punch that started it.
That was insane.
Mm-hmm. And how does DC like to fight? In the clinch. DC has very good kickboxing. I think it's overshadowed by his phenomenal wrestling, but I think he's a very good kickboxer. But he clinches all the time to get his takedowns. So the worry, if you're a DC fan, was that the Ooze is going to catch DC in the clinch, and his chin is cracked, and he's going to put DC out. And now DC lost to this unheralded contender, and he's older, and is he going to retire?
And this, you're over the hill, blah, 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 blah.
Nope!
Hell motherfucking no.
DC was like, get the fuck out of here with that retirement
came back,
shit.
Super Saiyan out, fucking fought like the best DC we've ever seen. Oh my god, what a performance he put on.
Domination.
His wrestling, though.
Embarrassment.
And his hands.
Shame. Defeat.
I mean,
heaped upon the Ooze.
Yeah. So, no knock on Oezdemir. He just has to... Same thing with Ngannou. Like, Ozdemir's fairly young in the sport. He has that raw talent. He has that raw knockout power. Yeah, he just has some things that he needs to work on, similar to Ngannou. Maybe not so much with cardio. We didn't really get to see it because it didn't go past the second round. However, it's no knock on Oezdemir. It is just all DC. He showed up. He didn't just lay on the guy like a lot of people give him flack for.
Well, he did lay on the guy, but he also had him in a mounted crucifix and was just putting shots into his head. That was beautiful. And
one thing that I was so impressed with, and it's like, duh, of course he was an Olympic wrestler, was his takedowns were so smooth. He was just like, takedown, right into side control. It was like, damn. With authority, like holy shit, like, and it was so impressed with his performance.
I was incredibly impressed. All questions about DC were answered with that performance. Now, the thing that I saw was in the first 2-3 minutes of the fight, DC, he was reaching to block Oezdemir shots. He was getting clipped by a couple of shots, but that's good because zero chin problems. When he clinched on the feet, you saw him have a little problem with the height of Oezdemir. When he get a double under, he's still leaning up. But as soon as he dropped down for that single, turned the corner, put it on the ground, Oezdemir had no answer. And Oezdemir went back to his corner after round 1, after a near finishing rear naked choke by DC, where Oezdemir was saved by the bell. He went back to his corner, a beaten man. You could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
And Henry Hooft started giving him advice, and then he went out, and it's the third time Hooft had a fighter who DC beat. But it was a foregone conclusion. That beating was decided before the second round even began.
Yeah, and it just is very similar with the losses for Ngannou as for Oezdemir. I think these losses were very necessary because there was a lot of hype put on these two in particular. For their raw talent, but you gotta have that. You can't just be a knockout artist anymore. You can't just be like really, really good at one thing anymore. The sport has evolved so much since that was the thing. Since Ronda Rousey could just armbar everyone at will. Since
UFC 1, where Hoist could fight off his back and submit people. On that tip, think about this. If DC had been fighting 15 years ago, all he would be doing is taking people down and controlling top position.
Yeah.
But now, you see, DC picked up kickboxing because he needs that. He can't be a one-dimensional wrestler.
Yes.
He added submissions into his game because he needs that.
Yeah.
DC has evolved, but leans heavy on his wrestling base.
Yeah, and you see shades of that with Ngannou. Like, he has had some gnarly submission victories.
Yeah, that Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah. However, he just needs to step up his game, but he needed a devastating loss like that really just brought out the worst in him to just get him to the point where he can just become a mixed martial artist.
Yeah, that...
And become a champion caliber. So, like, same thing with Oezdemir. Getting beat that bad, getting controlled and just clocked in the face.
Manhandled.
Like, being manhandled, being being in that crucifix position on the bottom is just fucking terrible. You need that in order to grow, in order to be like, okay, I can't just rely on my one talent. So, and it's just... That's what prevents people who have like that one thing from being champions.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, granted, like you can get that one knockout, but the
You
likelihood
might
of
not.
getting it at the top is less than, you know, getting up there to that point. So.
And I hold out hope that Ngannou will correct the flaws in his game. Oezdemir, I don't see as successful a future as I foresee for Ngannou, but who knows?
You never know. I think his cardio, well...
He's got to work, because he was tired, too, after the first round.
Yeah,
he was tired and beat both of them, cardio
that was
and
more of a
jiu-jitsu.
mental thing.
Yes, cardio and grappling on both of them.
But, you know, if you look at all the champions that have the belt now and actually are active, Demetrius Johnson, Max Holloway, Tony Ferguson.
Yes, not Conor McGregor.
Tyron Woodley.
Woodley has cardio.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, their complete game. Robert Whittaker, please get better.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, Whittaker has staph in his stomach. It spread to his organs. It was eating his organs. He's not doing well right now, so... power of positivity to Whittaker. Yeah, heal up, man.
Please, you're one of my favorite fighters, and I want to see you
well
above all. So please get well soon. Anyway, so all of these champions, DC, Stipe Miocic, not only they may be really strong in one area, but they're not lacking in other areas. So for example, Robert Whittaker is a stand-up fighter. He fights standing up. His striking is amazing. He's fast. He's elusive, as well. He doesn't. It's very hard to take him down because that's what he works
on the ground with Jacare.
Yeah.
Whittaker's not lacking.
And Romero.
Yeah.
Who's a Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. So it's not like he's lacking on the ground. He figured out what he needed to work on as far as the whole sport itself, and knew how, just learns how to stuff the takedowns, and so he can do what he's really good at. So it's not so much Robert Whittaker's hands are great, but once he gets on the ground, that's it, he's done. No,
he uses his grappling to get back up.
Exactly.
He won't let himself be controlled and gassed on the ground.
Yeah. And then if you look at Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she's not the champion right now, but she's so good on the feet, but you can't take her down. You really can't take her down.
She figured out early on if she wants to throw hands, she's got to stuff that takedown.
It's being multifaceted and being well-rounded in a way that works in your favor for your talent. So I'd love to see what Ngannou looks like 3 years from now.
Yeah,
after getting that loss.
I'd like to see him take 6 months, don't take a fight, go back to the UFC Performance Institute, wherever you're gonna go. Train, work on your ground, your cardio a little. That's what I'd like to see. Now, speaking of champions, the title belt situation is a clusterfuck in the UFC right now. We're going to be filming tomorrow. We're going to be filming a special about the state of the UFC titles and kind of give you a breakdown on what is happening with that shit. So...
It's a mess right now. I mean, you all know, but we're going to just kind of put
I'm gonna talk shit about the whole entire UFC title.
No shade,
yeah,
but all shade. But no, it's just it's not. Is it UFC or is it just the circumstances they're given, or is it a little bit of both? They gotta work on this. The value of their titles. The value of the titles, and I think they're losing focus of that to. They're putting over getting money in their pockets and pay-per-view points and sales and pushing stars over
versus maintaining the integrity of a title, of having a linear of making those belts count. So yeah, we're gonna be filming that tomorrow, and we hope you will enjoy that piece when we get it out to you.
So that was UFC 220, the co-main and the main event. Overall, I didn't get to see the whole entire card yet. I had a lot of work this weekend, but from what I saw, it was a great card.
I did get to watch
the
whole main card. I haven't gotten to watch the undercard yet because I've either been here or at work. But there were some really good performances on the undercard. Just real quick, we had Rob Font versus Almeida in the first fight at bantamweight, and you had Almeida, who's in a position where at one point he thought he was going to be the next big bantamweight title challenger, maybe a title holder.
He was a knockout artist.
Yeah. And then he got beat. And then
by Garbrandt, right?
Yeah, and then he beat Moraes, and then he got beat by Rivera, and now by Font. Font with some sick striking.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was hard to see Almeida get knocked out, though, because I think he's a very talented fighter. However, Font really put the pace on, he put the pressure on, and he got that knockout.
That head kick finish was
He hurt
beautiful.
him bad.
Yeah, in the second he hurt him.
Beautiful striking, and talk about performing under pressure, like home soil.
Boston. Yeah.
Boston, like, they don't fuck around. Like,
apparently not.
You're like, they're hometown heroes, like, right? Like, they are like, you're on your turf in Boston, like, you better win.
And
I just feel like it's more pressure. That's like trying to perform at the Garden here, in New York. So it's like, whew,
and
the
good on
pressure.
Font, he got that win under tough circumstances.
Yes.
Speaking of New York, our Long Island, Strong Island boy John Villante came back in a big way. He kind of had his back to the wall with back-to-back losses
Is
to...
this it?
Is that it?
That's what's his name used to do?
Zack Ryder?
Zack
God,
Ryder?
why am I doing it?
He's like...
Yeah, so Villante was coming off 2 losses to Shogun and to Patrick Cummings last in a really close split decision loss. And he's fighting Francis Ngannou, and he just put on a really tactical, smart fight. Came forward, he had the striking advantage, and he was one step ahead of Barros the whole fight. Clear-cut decision victory. I thought one judge had it for Barros, which doesn't make any sense, and you saw Villante freaking out while they were reading the thing.
Might have been watching another fight, who knows?
Possibly.
Or she.
I thought Villante won every round, and he did so intelligently and convincingly, so good on John Villante. The third fight, which this was actually the fight where I was most impressed with the fighter. Kattar versus Burgos. Kattar put on, speaking of intelligent fights, one of the most intelligent striking displays that I've seen in a while. Came out working a really smart jab. Seemed like he might not have enough power to beat Burgos in the second round. Burgos came in, dug some horrible-looking body shots, was turning up the pressure, and I thought, Kattar's going to wilt in the third, and Burgos is going to take the victory. Kattar came back with a stutter step straight, followed up by a hellacious uppercut, hurt Burgos. Now, here is the most impressive thing. You saw Burgos go down, and there's a shot of Kattar's face as he was heading to follow the fight to the ground. The expression in his face did not change at all. He remained as calm, working his grounded pound, as he was on the feet. Thus, every shot he threw to the grounded opponent landed, because he was selective and maintained composure looking for the finish. If he can keep that composed headset in all of his fights, I think he could be a force at featherweight.
Yeah.
I was super impressed with this performance.
Hell yeah. Me too.
Also, he didn't get on the mic and ask for money or any stupid shit like that after he won. Just gave a good interview. I like the guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again.
Mad props!
That's it.
Yeah, so UFC 220 was a really good card and a history-making performance by Stipe Miocic. Not only did he defend his belt, but 3 times. Now he can be considered as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He could be in that discussion because he has done something that no other heavyweight has been able to do. So, amazing on that part.
And then DC coming in, doing what he had to do, and putting the lie to any doubters out there, showing that he is still top of the food chain.
Absolutely.
At light heavyweight.
Yeah.
That was it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like we said, we're going to be making one tomorrow about the weird position a UFC title is in these days. From Brooklyn, New York, Fight Cool MMA, we're out.
Peace!
Safe and that is real life. No Joe Rogan, no bright lights, no scorpions, and no snake bites. Let you rap bad niggas get stage fright.